Shalom, everyone. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.koshertorah.com. Bringing to you today's daily lesson in the Sefer Yetzirah. This is lesson number 17, devoted, of course, to the safety, health, and the well-being of everybody in the world today who is facing troubles with regards to our present situation. So, with no further ado, let's jump right in and let's make a difference. How do we make a difference? You might think yourselves incapable of doing so, but that's not true. Remember, when we want to talk about real power, the power of these sefirot of which we speak, we're not speaking mythology. We're not speaking make-believe and false magic. All of these misguided misunderstandings of Torah and Kabbalah, I'm going to be blunt, they're really like modern day versions of idolatry. This is one of the pet peeves that I have with many of my peers. Whenever they come to the study of Kabbalah, they pick up books. And rabbis today write commentaries on books. So they read books and they read commentaries, and they do gain a good understanding of textual information. In other words, they know what the books say, and according to the commentaries they read, they think they know what the books mean. But this is all emasculated information. Essentially, it's like learning from a book how to drive a car, but never getting behind the wheel. It's kind of learning from a book how to be a connoisseur of intimacy with one's spouse, but yet remaining celibate and never having any experience. Well, this is the problem. When it comes to understanding Kabbalah, it's not the bait and switch that you see today in almost 99% of all my peers out there. All these big groups, and these are the ones who are making money, have the popularity. They teach you a good day's stuff, and you sit there and you go, wow, this is cool, I love it. And what you're receiving, unfortunately, is just spiritual entertainment as opposed to actual spiritual experience and transformation. How do I know this? Look at your lives. Look, what are you capable of doing? What have you seen? What are you able to experience? Many people in this dark times, they turn in desperation because there's no place else to go, in their opinion, other than the magical and the mystical and that which is completely disconnected from reality. You know, in psychology, we have something called the flight or fight response when danger arises. Most people today are falling into flight, and they're going into flights of fantasy. Fantasy obviously takes you further and further and further away from reality. So the more that you sit and study books, and the more you think you understand things because you're learning philosophy, mystical philosophy, putting pieces together of all these different kinds of textual ideas. Good for you. You're a brilliant academician. We'll put you into the university and you can teach a course on this commentary and that commentary. But that is not the secrets of the Torah. The Gemara says very clearly the three schools of the secrets of the Torah. Forbidden mixtures, which you can only know through experience. Secrets of creation, which is our Sefer Yetzirah, how to actually use forces by the power of mind, which can only be developed through the third school called Ma'aseh Merkabah. That's what we teach here at our KosherTorah School. All which I'm sharing with you right now is actually an introduction to a single word in our text. Our text now, we're in Mishna number 5 in chapter 1. And of course, it always opens up with these famous words, Ese Sefirot Balima, the 10 Sefirot Balima, the underlying energetic fields, which give rise to all forms in our universe. Let me put this in a little different context. For those of you who've ever read Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, the Ramban, in his commentary to the Torah, he states an old teaching which is very profound and is actually all based upon the Kabbalah, that in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, the one thing that God created is called the Hiyuli. And this Hiyuli is what we would understand as the prima matter, the original form from which everything else would rise. This is a Greek concept that Ramban Nachmani embraced and adopted into Judaism, which not the first, certainly not the last. Reb Chaim Vital speaks about this, of course, in the Etz Chaim and the like. Well, this prima matter, this original, in quote, energy, again, this is what we would understand as chi, nefesh, orgon, kundalini. It's the prima matter. It's the fifth element. It's the original source. And from it comes forth the other forms, which are called, again, fire, air, water, earth, or the four forms of matter as we understand it, plasmic, gaseous, liquid, solid. And I said, what does all this have to do with Kabbalah? And the answer, obviously, is everything. Why? Because this prima matter of which we speak, from which everything comes, in Kabbalah we call that the keter, the source. And in it, like a seed, is contained everything which is to come. So it says that God created the Hiyuli, and then from the Hiyuli, everything came forth. It was like an hourglass. All of creation came down to the creation of the Hiyuli, and then the Hiyuli gave form to everything else. That's the difference between creation and formation. When we speak of the 10 Sefirot, it says here, Midatan Eser, She'en Lehem Sof. Their number or measure is 10, but that 10 is infinite. It's like a cellular structure. You can outline a cell. And we all know what's in the cell. You have the nucleus, you have the cell wall, what's in it, and everything else. Study your chemistry, study your biology. And that cell is multiplied over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. How many cells are there? Oh my gosh, who can count? That's the same thing. The Sefirot are energy fields within the Hiyuli that give it its, if you will, programming of how to multiply itself into the variable forms of matter as we understand it. Now, here's the great secret of this Mishnah. Listen to this. 10 Sefirot Belima, okay? Their measure is 10 without number. And now we introduce a curious word, Omec. Omec means depth. Go look it up in the commentaries, all right? The translation is very simple. The depth of the beginning, Rashit, the depth of Achrit, the end. Okay, the depth of good, the depth of bad, the depth of above, the depth of below, the depth of the east, the depth of the west, the depth of the north, the depth of the south. So we have 10 Amukim, 10 depths. What the heck is a depth? All right, well, it's the deep. Yeah, the deep what? All right, well, what are we talking about? Deep Purple, my favorite rock and roll band? No. Well, what is deep here? You got to understand, like everything else, the Sefer Yetzirah is a code. And a code uses words and terms which have one meaning and then conceal within them many other levels of meaning. And if your commentaries that you're reading don't know the code, then they've never penetrated the veil, and all you're reading is very nice words, but you're not being able to take those words out of the theory, put it into practice. My frustration, again, like 99% of my peers out there, that's all that they do. Okay, whatever. But anyway, what exactly is an Omec? Rebbe Chaim Vital, our commentator here, he understood, and he put it in very simple words. All right? The meaning, hakavana el amukim she'en lehem shi'ur lekol ahad v'ahad v'nikra'u omakim al shem yesodot abba ve'ima umka ila'a. All right? And he quotes here from the Zohar, again, just to paraphrase simply, that the meaning of these amukim, their measure, they're called depths, because this is the name of the Yesodot of Abba and Ima. Now we've already gone through our little Partsufim talk. Abba, as we know, is the general, intuitive, psychic part of the mind. Ima, the intellectual, rational part of the mind. How do they have Yesod? Yesod is sexuality. So what is the sexuality of intuition? What is the sexuality of intellect? Well, I don't know. I usually don't correspond those types of things together. Yeah, because you don't correspond those things together is why your mind is emasculated. Why your imagination just stays up, locked inside, and nothing comes out. Why your intellect has all kinds of thoughts, but doesn't materialize anything real. This is the big, big secret here. A point that's made in all of the Kavanot, Kitvei Ari, whether it's the Shara Kavanot or the Lera Rashash, it always speaks about the Shvil Dekik. In other words, the passage of the power through what's called the Yesod. The Yesod of Abba penetrates into the Yesod of Ima. Language is overtly, very, very sexual. It's blunt. It's even written in the Kitvei Ari, the Hebrew word zivug. I've shared this with you before. Zivug means sex. When I learned with Rebbe Meir Levi, Alav Shalom, he used to say we read the word yichud for the sake of modesty. Yichud means union. But right, the word's written as the word's written. It's like the name of God, Yud Ke Vav Ke. We don't say it, but it says Adonai, but the name's still there. Understand now, what is the big deal? Omec, Reb Chaim says here, Omec misparo gevura. It is the numerical value, gematria, of the Hebrew word gevura. Now, gevura, 216. Gevura is also the word for Ariel, lion. And the famous verse says, the lion roars, who will not hear? Hashem prophesies, who will not, pay attention. So this is a big secret here. This is the secret of prophecy. The 72, in quote, letter name of God isn't 72 letters. It's 72 triads. It's 216 letters. And unlike groups out there that tell you this triad means this, just contemplate it, emasculated, bait and switch, lack of anything, really. The 216 are actually names of angels. The 216 letters are permutated with the names Yud Ke, Vav Ke, forming a chant. And I cover all of this in my Jewish Magic course. For those of you interested, go check it out. But that's not here. The Omec. When we put together creation, I should say we, whatever. When creation was put together, formation, this world working with the Chiyuli, you had, if you will, in quote, God's representatives, his malachim, who were performing the function of the will of God. And you had the 42 who were involved with creation of time. But then you had the 216 who created space. And therefore, that 216, that Ariel, is the foundation, the boundary, the limitation of these laws of nature. And by understanding these laws of nature, contacting, communing with the 216, that is called the voice of the roaring lion. And that is how prophecy comes about. And understanding this is the secret of the Omec. Everything. You have the depths. You'll notice the depths. You have 6 directions in space, 2 directions in time, and 2 directions in morality. Think about it, right? East, west, north, south, up, down. Those are your 6 parameters in space. Beginning and parameters in time. Good and evil. Parameters in morality. Morality is as much a dimension as is space and time. Secret of it we'll learn later, Olam, Shana, and Nefesh, time, space, consciousness. Consciousness goes to what we call good or bad. What is good or bad? It is either a calibration and an alignment with the proper flow of energies in the universe, or accident, the opposite. Everything either flows good or your reverse is going to flow bad. Everything's going to work towards the continual progression evolution, development, and growth of creation, or introvert back, collapse, fall back into what we call destruction. So this is the secret now of the Amukim, how to understand them. Rabbi Chaim says something like this, okay? They are kulam b'chokhma asita, based upon the verse. It says, God created everything in wisdom. But he says here, kulam b'chokhma asita b'bina, that everything was made in wisdom, but in understanding. Chokhmah penetrated bina, the intuitive and the intellectual work together and merge in that symbolic whole, that union called bonding of male and female, higher and lower, energetic, physical. There is that yin, that yang, whatever metaphor you want to use, it's the same. And you have to not just learn this book knowledge or listening to what I'm telling you with my words, you need to experience it. Like the wise old words of Master Yoda, you need to feel the force flowing through you. It's not an emotional thing. It's not an academic thing. It's an energetic thing. And you say, well, what's the difference? Stop trying to academicize the difference and learn to experience it. How? Listen to what Rabbi Chaim says now. This is pretty cool. So, what is Gevurah? Structure, form. The power of an Omec is when we take the 216, the energy of the Sefirot, permutating them into the structures and fiber, if you will, of existence in its three dimensions of space, time, consciousness. And he continues here. Zesod, all right, Hamad, Ma'im Duchrim, the Abba, Sod Gvurot Geshamim. This is the secret of the Ma'im Duchrim of Abba, the secret of the power of rain. What is that? Remember, in Kabbalah, we speak of male seed and female seed. Ma'im Duchrin, called feminine, masculine waters, and feminine waters. Mad and Man. Everybody who knows Kabbalah language of the Ari knows all this. Man and Mad is, let's be blunt, it's the sexual energy. It's the seed. When Abba, Chokhmah, intuition, is going to imbue intellect, this is not just some symbolic, psychological, blah, blah process. No, this is passion. And he states here like this. Listen to these words. Ki kol mi she'eno yoreh kehetz eno molid v'lechen koreh lakol ha'eser amukim. Anyone who does not rain down like an arrow does not give birth. That's why they're called depths. Okay, let's explain in a way you may understand. How many of you understand irresistible, uncontrollable sexual passion? Some of you are afraid of that energy, and you consider it a perversion and unholy and unspiritual. Well, then you've just emasculated yourself from the energy of God, because that is what it is. Raw, unadulterated, full passion, heshek. Bluffy writes about this. Eliezer Gemiza writes about this. This is the secret here. When Rabbi Chaim says anyone who doesn't pass on his seed like an arrow, bam, you're not going to give birth. In other words, the real passion, really getting into it. That's not emotions. For someone who gets into the real intensity of sexuality, you recognize that this is something far, far deeper than your superficial emotions or lust. This is much, much deeper. Like the Bible says, Adam knew his wife Eve. The passion from the will, keter, materializes in its form of dot, which is still subconscious, but goes down into the heart, teferet, firing it up, and projects itself through the yesod, real energy. This is the secret of the Amukim. It is the passion, the heshek, and it is intense. I write about this in Walking in the Fire. I translated a big, big secret about this sexual energy. from a book called Reshit Chochmah from Rabbi Eliyahu Davidas, one of the top Kabbalists in Old Tzfat, along with Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. And he stated there that a person who doesn't understand the sexual passion towards a woman will never understand the passion towards God. Big secret with that. Ran out of time. We got to continue to talk about this. God be willing, we'll pick this up in our next class. So, I'm Ariel Bar Tzadok, KosherTorah.com. You're interested in more? Take a class. Go to my page, KosherTorah.com. Look at the courses. See what I have to offer you. I know there's something there waiting for you. The question is, are you ready to embrace it? Challenge to you. See you all soon. Shalom.